Hello everyone. Welcome to the series of lectures on the course Calculus and Numerical Methods. This is part 8 of the second chapter, Sequences and their Convergence. In this lecture, I will talk about something called as sandwich lemma, or sometimes also referred to as squeeze lemma. So let me start with this simple example. Supposing you are attending some feast and everyone is gathered in some, let's say, some hall or some building, and here is the entrance. So you enter from here, and just assume you want to go here. Okay, so this is the entrance, the main entrance, let's say, and you want to pass out through this. Now assume that this is jam packed. Okay, so no matter where you put your finger, there are lots of people there. Okay, so just assume that it is jam packed and there are people everywhere. Okay, and supposing you are somewhere in between, let me choose a different color, and supposing you are here, right, the red one, supposing that's you, and around you everywhere there are people. Okay, it's very crowded. Now everyone is moving in this direction, right? All the people are moving in this direction because they want to pass through this entrance. Now supposing suddenly you realize that you didn't carry your phone and you want to move back. Can you imagine what is going to happen? All the people are moving in one direction and you are trying to move in the opposite direction now. What is going to happen? People in front of you are moving in one direction, that is towards this right side. People behind you are also moving towards this direction. So everyone around you is moving around this towards this direction, that is the right side where I marked the arrow. So what is going to happen to you? Will it be easy for you to move backwards? Assume that this place is fully crowded with people. Okay, a huge crowd. So what is going to happen is you will be ultimately pushed towards this door here, this entrance, right? Because people in front of you are also moving that side, people behind you are also moving that side. So everyone around you are moving in this direction. So ultimately you will also be pushed in that direction, right? So you will also be pushed that side towards this door. So we will relate this idea to sequences. So let me state it. This is called as sandwich lemma, or sometimes squeeze theorem or squeeze lemma. Supposing you have three sequences xn, yn and zn of real numbers such that xn is less than or equal to yn and yn is less than or equal to zn for each n. That means the terms of the sequence are lying between the corresponding terms of the sequences xn and zn. So if you look at the first term, x1 will be less than or equal to y1 and y1 will be less than or equal to z1. x2 will be less than or equal to y2 and y2 will be less than or equal to z2, right? x50 will be less than or equal to y50 and that will be less than or equal to z50. Understanding? That means the sequence yn is lying between the sequences xn and zn. And supposing this sequence xn and zn, they are converging to the same point. So I'm assuming that in the second point, xn converges to the point A and the sequence zn also converges to the point A. Then what is going to happen to this sequence which is lying between those two sequences? This sequence we are expecting from the example that I gave to be pushed towards this number, that's A, right? And that's what exactly is happening. Okay, so if you take three sequences xn, yn, zn of real numbers such that yn lies between xn and zn and xn and zn converge to the same point A, then the sequence yn will also converge to the point A. This is what we have to establish. Okay. So let's prove this. We want to prove that the sequence yn converges to the point A. That means what we have to do is, given any epsilon positive, I have to find a stage such that no matter which terms I take after that stage, all the terms will be in that epsilon neighborhood of this point A. Right? That's by definition of convergence of a sequence. So supposing epsilon is some arbitrary positive number given to me, any arbitrary number positive, then we are given that the sequence xn converges to A. So since xn converges to A, so for this epsilon I can find a natural number n1 such that for all n greater than or equal to this n1, what is going to happen? Xn will belong to the epsilon neighborhood of A. Right? So after the natural number n1, all the terms will be within this neighborhood, A minus epsilon comma A plus epsilon. Similarly, since yn converges to A, sorry, not yn, since the sequence Zn converges to A, that is given to us, since Zn converges to A, again I can find a natural number n2 such that for all n greater than or equal to this n2, Zn will belong to this epsilon neighborhood. Right? So we have made use of this fact that xn converges to A and Zn also converges to A. Right? Now I need one natural number such that both these conditions will work for that natural number. This one as well as 2. So what do? We pick up the maximum of these two as we have been doing all this while. So choose let's say capital N to be maximum of these numbers n1 and n2. So for this natural number now, both the conditions 1 and 2 will work. Right? Therefore, xn will belong to A minus epsilon comma A plus epsilon, and Zn will also belong to A minus epsilon comma A plus epsilon for all n greater than or equal to this capital N. Right? Now, what do you mean by xn belongs to this interval, open interval? When do we say that a point P belongs to the open interval C comma D? This will happen only if P lies strictly between C and D, right? Then only this point P will come in this open interval by the definition of open interval. So this means xn lies between A minus epsilon and A plus epsilon, and Zn also lies between A minus epsilon and A plus epsilon, and this will happen for all n greater than or equal to this capital N that we have chosen, right, which is maximum of n1 and n2. So if I club these two conditions now, if I look at the first one, A minus epsilon is less than xn, therefore for all n greater than or equal to this capital N, what do we have? A minus epsilon is less than xn, but we are given a relation between xn, yn and zn, that is xn is less than or equal to yn and yn is less than or equal to zn from this point number 1. So I will make use of that fact. So xn is less than or equal to yn and yn is less than or equal to zn for each n, and from here zn is less than A plus epsilon. Now this will happen for all n greater than or equal to this capital N, right? That means for all n greater than or equal to this capital N, now this A minus epsilon is less than yn and yn is strictly less than A plus epsilon. Okay, so you just assume that these two terms are not there. That is the terms xn and zn. So what do you get? A minus epsilon is strictly less than yn, and yn is strictly less than a plus epsilon. That means for all n greater than or equal to this capital N, yn belongs to the open interval a minus epsilon comma a plus epsilon, right? So what did we do? Given epsilon positive, therefore, given any epsilon positive, we found a natural number capital N such that for all n greater than or equal to this capital N, yn will belong to the open interval a minus epsilon comma a plus epsilon, that is the epsilon neighborhood of a, and that's exactly the convergence of the sequence yn, and therefore the sequence yn will converge to the point A. Okay, so if xn is converging to A and zn is converging to A, and the sequence yn is lying between xn and zn, then this sequence yn will also be converging to the same point A. Okay, now this is very useful when you want to show that when you have two known sequences. Okay, supposing you have one sequence here, and I have the sequence yn, and this is less than or equal to some sequence here. So this one converges to some point A, and this one converges to this A, then this also will be forced to converge to the same point A. Okay, so if you know the convergence of this one, and they converge to the same point, then this you can predict the convergence of this one. That's why. Okay, and this is called sandwich lemma, or sometimes also called as squeeze lemma. Okay, and it has lots of applications as we will be looking ahead in the problems. Next, let's look at some applications of this sandwich lemma. So supposing I have this sequence, first example, consider the sequence xn where for each n, xn is defined to be sine n upon n. Okay, so I'll just put it down. Xn is defined to be sine n upon n. So x1 will be sine 1 upon 1. Okay, x2 will be sine 2 upon 2, x3 will be sine 3 upon 3, and so on. For each n, xn is defined to be sine n by n. Okay, so I want to check where this sequence converges. So we will make use of the sandwich lemma for this. Now, you all must have seen in your lower classes that sine value, no matter what real number x you take, okay, no matter what real number x you take, sine x will always lie between 1 and minus 1. Have you all come across this fact? Sine value, no matter what real number x you take here, any real number you like, if you take positive, negative, 0, however big, however small, it will, sine of that number will always lie between minus 1 and 1, right? So we know that minus 1 is less than or equal to sine n. We need n here, so sine n is less than or equal to 1 for all n. Okay, in fact it works for every real number, but I need it for natural numbers only, so I will restrict it to the set of natural numbers. Now what I can do, I need sine n by n, so I will divide throughout by n, or I can multiply by 1 by n, it's the same thing. So let's multiply throughout by 1 by n. This implies minus 1 by n is less than or equal to sine n upon n, that is less than or equal to 1 by n, right? I am multiplying throughout by 1 by n. So this is nothing but xn. So this implies minus 1 by n is less than or equal to xn, and that is less than or equal to yn. Now, where does the sequence 1 by n converge? Where does this sequence 1 by n converge? This converges to 0. Minus 1 by n also converges to the point 0. Okay, we have not checked it, but you can definitely take this as an exercise to show that minus 1 by n also converges to 0. Okay, so by Sandwich lemma, because this xn is in between these two sequences and both of them are converging to 0, xn will also be forced to converge to 0, right? So therefore, now since 1 by n converges to 0 and the sequence minus 1 by n also converges to 0, by squeeze lemma or the Sandwich lemma, what can I conclude? Xn also converges to 0. That means the sequence sin n by n will converge to 0. Okay, so this is one example based on Sandwich lemma or the squeeze lemma. And these are my references. Thank you.